Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV. Hope you're all doing very well. Well, City have got Mark Gahey and Antoine Semenyo through the door this transfer window. We spent plenty of money. It's going to be in the region of 85, 90 million quid. And quite rightly, fans of opposition clubs, besides being extremely brassed off, extremely annoyed that we're buying two very good players that were much in demand from other top clubs, they question the fact, how can we be spending this much money? How can we spend 400 million or whatever it was in the last 12 months and whatever it is now, when we've got 115 charges dangling over our heads and no decision has been made on them yet. People are asking, how is City allowed to do it? Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about these 115 charges, not go into too much detail, but just see where we are. Give a little background and see where we are now. City were charged a few years ago now, I think, with financial, let's call it financial impropriety and not cooperating with an investigation. Now, the financial impropriety, let's call it that, relates to a period from 2009 to 2018. City were alleged to have broken, let's call them FFP rules, financial fair play rules, and they were charged with these 115 charges. Now, that's a lot of charges. A lot of the charges relate to the same thing, same alleged offence over multiple years. And if you go from 2009 to 2018, that's about 10 years. So you could have one particular offence every year for 10 years. Okay, that would make 10 charges. But that was a lot of charges. Now, back in 2024, from September to December 2024, there was a hearing, a 10-week hearing took place. And a lot of people were suggesting that hopefully by the end of the season, by the end of last season, by the summer, we would have got a verdict. We would have had a result out. But that wasn't the case. Then people suggested maybe by September, October, maybe definitely before the end of the year. But that hasn't happened. It's still rumbling on. They haven't come to decisions yet. Now, people say, why is it taking so long? It's going to take so long because there are a lot of charges. There's a lot of evidence, and complex legal cases can take a very long time. Now, some of the fault, I think, was in some instances, definitely the Premier League. City, they're going to defend themselves robustly. They're not going to go quietly into the night. So you can't blame them for defending themselves as strongly as possible. But the Premier League, I think, made some mistakes. One, there was no timeline. There was no time limit given when they had this before the hearing. I think when they said, right, you've got these charges, we want it wrapped up by a certain amount of time. In simple cases, that can happen. We've seen with obvious breaches of PSR, the profit and sustainability rules. We've seen, especially where clubs have held their hands up and said, yes, we're guilty, we admit it. Things can be done very, very quickly. I think the Leicester one was within a month of them saying, yep, or whatever. The results were out. I think the Everton one was pretty quick as well. But that was just one charge, I think, and the club pleaded guilty. So but if you think it can still take a month, it can still take a while. Excuse me. They might have come up with some mitigating circumstances and had a hearing or whatever it was. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but that was for one charge, and the club pled guilty. Okay, and it still took a little while, a few weeks at least. So with 115 charges, and the club pleading it's innocent in Manchester City, it's going to take a lot longer to conclude. But the Premier League never said, it could have said it has to be concluded by the summer of last year, which would have been a good time. At the end of a season, you can make your decisions what's going to happen, and it won't. I don't think you want to make a result coming out in the middle of a season, especially for something that happened up to over 15 years ago, affecting you now. It is what it is. If City are guilty, then they'll take the punishment. But I don't want it in the middle of a season. So that's one thing, that they didn't have a timeline on this. And I think another big thing I think there were too many charges. I mean, maybe the Premier League didn't expect it to blow up and go on for as long as it has. But I think what they should have done, I think other people have said this, other financial commentators, is picked the charges, the most important charges, let's say, the most, I don't know what the right word is, but the ones with that could really are the more serious charges. I think they should have picked them and picked a few of them, not picked 115, because you can see it's dragging on. And picked the more serious charges with the more serious consequences and gone after that. And so you don't have them going over all 115. They might pick 3 or 4, focus on them. The timeline is much shorter then, okay? And you could say, let's forget about the more minor ones, because that even the minor ones are taking a lot of time to discuss, to defend, and for want of a better word, prosecute. So pick the most serious charges, get that done, and get it done quickly, and get whatever the verdict is. If there's punishment, dish it out. You can forget about those, or you can go back and do the others, but you've done something. You've not let it drag and drag and drag and drag and drag. So we're in a really tough situation at the moment. Nothing's been decided. It's obviously a few leaks, but pretty much we've not heard anything. City obviously state their case and say we're innocent, and they've got to carry on doing business. You can't just say we're going to stop buying players and selling players and stop operating as a football club because of these charges. You've just got to carry on, especially if you're innocent. The worry is now it's still dragging on. It's dragged on longer than a lot of people said it would. People said it would be done sometime in 2025. There's no verdict, no indication yet when that verdict will be. Let's hope it's it's by the end of the season. Maybe it comes out during the World Cup. I don't know. I'm not sure. That might be good for England or whoever. If the City players are hearing about this, and there's going to be a lot of noise. So I'm not sure when the right time to give that verdict is. I guess as soon as it's ready, it should be out. But the worry then is, even though there are limited grounds for appeal, either party could appeal. If City are found guilty, they're going to appeal. They're not going to say, "Yep, right, we'll accept our punishment," especially after protesting their innocence for so many years. So they'll turn around and say, "We're going to appeal." And how long do you think an appeal will take? This is where it can get very confusing. How long will an appeal take? If this current process has already taken about 18 months from the hearing from September to we're coming towards the end of, 20th of January as I record this video. So you're looking at 15, 16, 17 months already. 16, 17 months. And that's for the hearing and the appeal. And that's for that hearing and waiting for a decision. If City appeal, then they've got to give them a date for the hearing. Okay, that's not going to be tomorrow. So if the decision comes out on the 31st of January, the appeal is not going to start on the 1st of Feb. There's not going to be a new hearing. That new hearing might not happen for another 2 or 3 months. So let's look at that timeline. Let's say it's at the end of January, and then you City appeal, and then there's another hearing scheduled for April or May. If the last one's taken 15, 16 months, who's to say the next one won't do the same? Who's to say it won't take 2 years? I heard something today. They said this might not finish before 2030. Which we just turned 2026. That's another 26, 27, 28, 29. Another 4 years. But you can easily see it taking another at least 18 months after a decision, a verdict has come out. It could easily take 18 months to 2 years. So even if you get a decision today, after an appeal, that might not be heard, and another verdict come out or whatever till 2028. I think the 2030 thing was just tongue in cheek, a bit flippant. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, we never expected it to get this long, last this long in the first place, and it's still ongoing with no seemingly date for for a verdict. It's a terrible situation. Premier League have totally balls this up with the way they've done stuff. They, I'll be honest, they don't know what they're doing half the time. That's what it feels like. Now, I'm going to finish off by saying, people say, are City guilty? Don't know. I've not seen all the evidence, and you are innocent until proven guilty. But all, pretty much, organisations, all football clubs, there was a song from Bad Manners, Baggy Trousers, and it was basically there's a line, something like, all I was taught at school was how to bend, not break the rules. Okay? Now, everybody, accounting-wise, is trying to look for, I won't say loopholes, but look where they can use the law to their advantage. Clubs look to see whether they can use the rules to their advantage. For instance, I think was it Chelsea who sold the hotel back to the club so that they didn't breach PSR rules. Was it Chelsea as well, and somebody else? Was it Leicester? I can't remember now. So forgive me, I'm not accusing anybody, but who sold the women's team back to the club? Chelsea have done a few, if I remember correctly, a few surprising deals, let's say, and the rules didn't stop them doing this. Okay, so they worked within the rules. We might say that's against the spirit of it, and everything else, but it's how to bend and not break the rules. And I think when it comes to finances and PSR and FFP, all teams will look to see how far they can push it without breaking the rules. Okay, if they think they can do something that's within the rules, they will do it. So it may be that City have gone down the same path, that they've tried to bend but not break the rules. But sometimes you might think you're doing something that's legit, and it's not. If you go back a few years, and I'm sorry guys, I used to be an accountant and a tax advisor, so that's how some of this comes up. But there was something called the film scheme. I think it was a film scheme. I think that was the one where they could get, if you invested in British film, you could get some tax rebate in effect. It was beneficial from a tax point of view, and people got caught because they said actually in the revenue, even though the advisors had said this is all right, it's legitimate, and no problem, the tax authorities came back and said no, actually it's not. And I think you've had famous people got caught. Jimmy Carr, I'm not sure if it was a film scheme, but for something, and he got lambasted and castigated for it. But at the back of everything, your advisors are giving you the advice. So if your advisor says you can do this and you do it and you get done for it, well, you could say indirectly it's an advisor's fault because they're giving you duff advice. And it could be that City's advisors have said you can do this, this, and this, and that's incorrect. But City will face the punishment. At the end of the day, it'll be City that faces the punishment, not the advisors. City could turn around and say, oh, look, the advisors said this was legal. There's nothing wrong with that. We're doing everything above board. But ultimately, City will face the sanction. So do I think City are guilty? I think City are guilty of doing pretty much what all other football clubs would do. Definitely in the same boat as that. I can't say we've done worse than others, but we've definitely done similar to what everybody else, in my opinion, I think we've done similar to what everybody else would do in similar circumstances. That you try and bend but not break the rules. But that's as much as I know, guys. I'm sure everybody's bored with the 115 charges. We need a resolution. We need it quickly. And even then, who's to say the Premier League won't appeal or City won't appeal if whoever loses? This could rumble and rumble, and yeah, I mean it sounds crazy, but it could rumble on for another 2 or 3 years. I don't know how far either party could push it, whether you can keep appealing or go to a different jurisdiction, like City appealed the UEFA ruling to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. I don't know how far. I'm not a legal expert. I don't know how far City or the Premier League could push this, whoever loses, but we need it resolved. We need it done quickly, because then all this, I think the word is innuendo about City cheating and cheating our way to titles and everything else. It'll just linger around like a bad smell. And we don't want that. I want to get it dusted. Here's a line drawn in the sand. We're guilty, not guilty, whatever. We want to move on. We'll see what happens, and we'll see. Hopefully it'll happen this season. We've got 4 or 5 more months. Hopefully it will happen this season. Guys, if you're new to the channel, it would be fantastic if you could subscribe. If you can hit that bell icon, you'll be notified as soon as new videos come out. We'll see you around, please.